According to Hasan Piker, he was pulled aside at an airport.
For me, they wanted to conduct an investigation about my involvement with Hamas.
Was that a Freudian slip right there?
And my involvement with the Houthis, or they suspected.
It looks like they might be pulling the
tapes. A popular streamer with more than 2 million followers says he was detained and questioned at O'Hare Airport for more than 2 hours.
Overall, it sounds to me like a Twitch streamer trying to run with the story to make it as dramatic as possible.
They took me to a detention area. I was surrounded by terrified families.
And on the verge of being arrested.
They literally tried to get something out of me that I think they could use to basically detain me permanently.
Had he not outwitted the agents with his psychological chess game by dominating the room?
So I sat down on the lawyer seat on the corner to establish dominance, and I knew I had to have command over the room. So I didn't sit in the cuck chair. Instead, I sat in the lawyer chair.
And who would have known that Hasan Piker was a four-dimensional chess player?
He always made it seem as though he was asking certain things that after discovering in the process of that conversation, he would ask additional questions.
Hasan would say something and then the other guy would respond accordingly. Who would expect that? But no, this is clearly an interrogation technique.
What do you do as a job? And I was like, I'm a Twitch streamer. And he's like, well, since you mentioned that you were a Twitch streamer, what kind of things do you stream about?
Seems logical.
So I was just like, yeah, I play video games, but I also do current events, sometimes drama. He's like, do you talk about Trump? And that was the first time where I was like, what the is this question? Like, I literally straight up told him, I was like, why are you asking me this?
No, it's almost like you wanted it to go there.
I actually wanted to see how far I could take it. Maybe it was up of me to do that. Maybe it was not appropriate for me to do that.
He repeated that on NBC, that you pushed this as far as you could take it. Yes, NBC is actually covering this.
Being a public personality and also having enough financial security to potentially go through a long and arduous legal process, I wanted to see where this line of questioning would go, this line of inquiry would go, instead of immediately exercising my Fifth Amendment rights.
So when you push it to see how far you can take it, don't be surprised when it takes longer in the room. You then come out of the room and complain about how long it took.
But I wanted to see like what they were trying to take from this conversation.
Almost as though he recognized like, oh, this is going to make some gold content.
And I kept repeating the same statement over and over again. I'm on the side of civilians. I want the endless bloodshed to end. I am a pacifist.
If they do know who you are, the concern would be the same concern echoed by many on the internet, that this guy is openly supporting Hamas.
I want wars to end. I just kept repeating that over and over again. Every single time he asked me a question, I just kept repeating that.
Yeah, and when you provide the same robot response, he probably found that odd. It's this guy's like repeating this script as though it's a defense mechanism.
I kept saying, the United States State Department recognizes Hamas as a terrorist organization. The United States State Department recognizes Hamas as a terrorist organization.
So he probably continued to ask different forms of questions to see if you would continue repeating the same robotic response, because that is strange.
He just kept asking me over and over again, like Hamas, Houthis, all this, trying to be like, oh, do you support them? Do you like them? My big fear from the entire situation was like, if they were to ask for my phone.
But did they ask for your phone? No.
Not that there's anything incriminating on my phone. Up until this very moment, if you were to say, as an American citizen, you stand 10 toes down with Hamas, or you stand 10 toes down with the Houthis, or whatever they can't deny you entry into the country for that. But I don't know what the they're trying to do. So I was like, I'm not going to go beyond it.
The subtext here is that he could have gone beyond it, but he chose not to. He does believe much farther than that. He's admitting it here.
I'm not going to go beyond just like reiterating over and over again. The American government's position is that Hamas is a terrorist organization. And I kept saying that over and over again, at which point he just like kind of gave up.
Did he give up, or did he just come to the end of his checklist and this was a standard procedure and he really wasn't that invested?
I even followed it up with like, I said, I call balls and strikes, and I, there are things that Trump has done that I actually agree with, and I'm not shy about saying those things, even though initially he said he was going to end all these wars. He hasn't done so.
This guy was probably like, I'm just trying to check off these boxes. It's just a standard procedure. I really don't care that much about what you think. I'm not trying to debate.
But I do think that Trump did a good thing where he implemented a ceasefire with the Houthis. So when he does stuff like that, when I agree with him, I tell him what's what.
He's like, can we just get through this list, please? And Hasan's like, well, I did like this, I did like that. I can just picture it.
I said, I don't like Trump. And I was like, what are you going to do? It's protected by the First Amendment. I don't like Trump. Yes, right? Like, I was like, I'm not fond of him. I don't like him. He said he was going to end the wars. He hasn't ended the wars.
Answer the questions and you go aside. If it took him 30 minutes, it's because you were fucking around way too much.
Destiny went on to apply some critical thinking and detective work to the timeline and deduced that
at 4:22, the doors to his plane opened. From there, he has to leave the plane. He has to walk through to get to immigration. He had to check at the global entry thing and then get pulled aside for additional questioning. So he got pulled aside for additional questioning, did the questioning, and then he was out. And then he tweeted at 5:30, it's okay, I'm out. So realistically, like from waiting in the room to talking to the guy and everything, was probably 30 minutes, tops.
Hasan describes it as 2 hours, but the numbers do not add up.
And he was immediately let go. And somehow, since then, Hasan has been crying on stream nonstop that they violated his rights and essentially implying that he's like some sort of political prisoner. He's going on all these interviews. He's telling everybody, oh my God, we should all be scared of this.
So he's lying for attention.
He anticipated it happening. It's almost as though he planned for it to happen.
I knew what was up. I knew what was coming. I suspected this would most likely happen.
Tweeted as soon as he got out.
And then he was out, and then he tweeted at 5:30, it's okay, I'm out.
The Department of Homeland Security responds claiming he's lying.
Anybody surprised?
Things that his political beliefs triggered the inspection are baseless. Our officers are following the law, not agendas.
Anybody?
And this is from the Department of
Anybody
Homeland Security.
surprised?
Let's see the tapes.
And I really do hope that we get the footage so that we can actually see what actually happened.
Might actually be releasing video of the so-called detainment soon. Because
If they release the video of Hasan's detainment, he's gonna look like such a fucking bitch.
you know, the Department of Homeland Security got to clear their name.
My guess would be that it was probably just a pretty standard conversation. Meanwhile, Hasan is sitting there across from him trying to dominate the room and by sitting in the corner, debating him on all this policy stuff. And he's probably just like, dude, I really don't care that much. It sounds more like they were just trying to ascertain just his level of insanity and support for terrorism.
Yeah, that prominent Twitch streamer, Hasan Piker, he said that he was pulled over and questioned for hours right here at O'Hare Airport because of his political beliefs and his criticism of the current administration.
If this footage
We are
makes
asking
it
for
alive,
video
he's
of that
fucked.
incident, so it's hard.